And yes, it's a family ring. It belonged to my mother, her engagement ring. I thought it was special because, even though she's no longer here to be part of the excitement, this was my way of keeping her close through it all. In a world where royal discretion is everything, Carole Middleton just made a move that no one, not even Queen Camilla, saw coming. Known for her grace and protective presence around Princess Catherine, Carole has always kept a low profile. But something behind palace walls has changed. Sources say Camilla was caught completely off guard and left in tears, a rare emotional moment that's now rippling through the monarchy. So, what happened? What triggered such a powerful reaction from a queen who rarely lets her emotions show? This isn't your typical family squabble. This is history unfolding in real time. A hidden power shift is stirring behind the golden walls of Buckingham Palace. And the shockwave didn't come from within the House of Windsor. It came from a woman the palace underestimated, Carole Middleton. For years, Carole has been a steady, if quiet presence in the lives of Prince William and Princess Catherine. While past in-laws often faded from the royal scene after weddings, Carole remained firmly rooted. But she did more than stay. Insiders say she played a pivotal role in shaping William and Catherine's public image, their parenting style, and even how they deal with the relentless expectations of royal life. She never craved attention, yet her influence was unmistakable. From helping Kate adjust to life after the 2011 royal wedding, to offering comfort and grounding outside the cold formalities of royal protocol, Carole became a quiet, stabilizing force. She brought something rare inside those palace gates: warmth, consistency, and a connection to everyday life. And in doing so, she helped humanize the future king and queen in the eyes of the public. But not everyone welcomed that influence. Queen Camilla, officially crowned beside King Charles III in May 2023, knows all too well how hard it is to earn respect within royal circles. For decades, she was labeled the other woman, the one who disrupted the fairy tale of Charles and Princess Diana. She endured public shame, endless tabloid attacks, and a nation that never truly forgave her. Still, against all odds, Camilla carved out her space in the monarchy. Not just as Charles's partner, but as queen consort. She knows how palace power works. She knows that in the royal world, influence is everything. So when someone outside the royal bloodline begins gaining influence, especially someone like Carole Middleton, it threatens the order. It stirs silent battles behind gilded doors. And now insiders say Carole made a move that shook Camilla to her core. A decision so unexpected and personal that it left the queen consort visibly rattled. Not because of protocol, but because it revealed something deeper. That William and Catherine might be turning to Carole, not the palace, for guidance. And if that's true, what place does that leave for Camilla in this evolving monarchy? This isn't just a personal conflict, it's emotional. It's strategic. It's symbolic. Just when the royal family seemed stable again, a subtle power struggle is emerging. And it's not happening in the tabloids. It's happening behind closed doors. A quiet rivalry that could reshape the future. You won't want to miss what happens next. For over a decade, a silent battle has been unfolding. Not in grand gestures or press headlines, but in chilly glances, canceled visits, and shifting loyalties. Two women, Carole Middleton and Queen Camilla, from vastly different worlds, are now locked in a delicate but unmistakable rivalry. On the surface, everything seemed perfect. April 29, 2011, Prince William and Catherine Middleton's wedding. The world watched in awe as Britain celebrated its future king and queen. Carole Middleton and Camilla stood side by side for family photos, exchanging polite smiles, united in appearance. But palace insiders say tensions were brewing behind the smile. Carole, once a flight attendant and daughter of a shop clerk and a builder, built a thriving business, Party Pieces, with her husband Michael. Through hard work, they gave their children a privileged education and a stable life. But inside Buckingham Palace, where birthright is everything, Carole's middle-class roots raised eyebrows. To the aristocracy, she didn't belong. As William and Catherine's relationship grew, So did the quiet sidelining of Carole. At palace events, she was often ignored. Her presence treated with formality. Her ideas brushed aside. She wasn't welcomed. Not really. Camilla, born into nobility and fluent in royal codes, thrived where Carole was made to feel invisible. In the months leading to the royal wedding, Carole tried to contribute meaningful personal touches to the ceremony. Her suggestions, floral arrangements, guest invites, were dismissed without discussion. The wedding may have been her daughter's, but the decisions were swept into palace hands. After the wedding, the slights didn't stop. They simply became more subtle. Carole's access to Catherine began to shrink. Visits became shorter. Holidays, more complicated. Traditions like Christmas were claimed by royal duty at Sandringham. Catherine, now Duchess of Cambridge, felt torn between two worlds, one of warmth and simplicity, and the other a maze of royal protocol. When Prince George was born in July 2013, Carole naturally stepped in, ready to help as a hands-on grandmother. But the palace had its own plans. Royal staff managed every detail. Carole's presence was quietly restricted. Some believe Camilla backed those boundaries, worried about the growing influence of the Middletons. By the time Princess Charlotte was christened in July 2000, a private post-ceremony celebration planned by Carole was abruptly cancelled, reportedly overridden by Camilla's team. The message was clear. Carole didn't belong in these royal moments, and that hurt. But rather than push back, Carole began to withdraw. Was it surrender, or a new strategy? On the surface, Carole's retreat looked like a mother giving space, but insiders saw something else. A pattern, a quiet but deliberate removal from royal life. She started appearing less at events. Her once visible presence at Catherine's side faded. Invitations came less often. Appearances, more selective. It wasn't loud. It was subtle, but it spoke volumes. Carole, the woman who raised the future queen, was never truly welcomed into the royal fold. Since Catherine's wedding in 2011, she had walked a tightrope between two worlds, one built on effort and one built on legacy. Inside the palace, even the nursery had rules. Nannies ran the show. Carole's help was pushed aside. Visits were rescheduled, shortened or cancelled without warning. And slowly the warmth was replaced with control. Queen Camilla, who had once fought tooth and nail to be accepted, had now become a gatekeeper of tradition. Some say she saw Carole's influence over Catherine, and through her William, as a quiet threat. Two strong women, two protective mothers. But only one could shape the narrative. And as that distance widened, Carole Middleton began making moves. Quiet ones, that could change everything. A shift was coming. You could feel it. And it all started with a silent stand. The gossip? She never repeated it. Instead, Carole Middleton documented everything. And over time, a pattern began to emerge. One that told a far deeper story. A story about how palace power operates. Quietly, subtly, under the guise of tradition and protocol. By March 2024, those private tensions finally broke the surface. At Prince Louis' school concert in London, Carole and Queen Camilla stood on opposite sides of the room. No greeting, no nod, not even eye contact. Just silence. Cold, calculated silence. Prince William, ever the peacemaker, moved between them, clearly trying to soften the air. But the atmosphere was undeniable. This wasn't just an awkward moment. It was years of subtle rejection, strategic distancing, and unspoken rivalry, finally laid bare. Camilla, who once fought tooth and nail for royal acceptance, was now clinging to the old order, determined to keep it exactly as it had always been. Carole, on the other hand, wasn't battling for titles or attention. She was fighting for something more profound. Her rightful place in her grandchildren's lives. And while the palace grew colder, more calculated, Carole never flinched. She stayed calm. She stayed observant. And most importantly, she stayed. Because for her, this wasn't about crowns or status. It was about memory, about dignity, about legacy. A legacy not marked by thrones, but by love. But then came the twist no one saw coming. It was a February morning in 2025. Cold, quiet. the kind of morning where everything seems still, until it isn't. Carole Middleton arrived at Buckingham Palace. No media, no headlines, just a small leather briefcase, and a look that unsettled even the most seasoned palace staff. It wasn't a courtesy visit. Inside those halls where tradition masks truth, Carole sat down with senior palace figures, and what she brought with her wasn't speculation. It wasn't gossip. It was documentation, evidence, real names, real dates, financial trails, property contracts, records of reassigned staff, a slow, systematic shift in influence, designed to push the Middletons further from the heart of royal life. And at the center of it all, Queen Camilla. Sources say the documents revealed more than polite exclusions or forgotten invitations. They painted a picture of intentional strategic marginalization. Whispers of secret meetings in Switzerland, funds moved through shell companies, household shifts too coordinated to be coincidence. Camilla, once the monarchy's outsider, had slowly become its strictest gatekeeper. And over the years, she had grown increasingly suspicious of Carole's closeness with Princess Catherine, her influence on Prince William, and her natural role in the lives of George, Charlotte, and Louis. But what she hadn't expected was Carole's patience. While Camilla maneuvered from the shadows, Carole waited, watched, documented. She played the long game. By the time that school concert happened in March 2024, the damage was visible. The relationship was fractured, but the confrontation still hadn't come. Until now, those inside the room say Camilla emerged shaken, and for the first time in years, perhaps ever, she cried. An aide claimed she left the meeting in tears. The public wouldn't see her for 10 full days. When she reappeared on March 11th for Commonwealth Day, something was off. The smile rehearsed, the presence smaller, fewer staff surrounded her, her posture once firm, now slightly hunched. The queen who had commanded a room now seemed quieter. No statement was made, but the silence screamed. Within hours of Carole's visits, senior staff were recalled from retirement, schedules were rearranged, events postponed, and the palace, famous for its iron grip on optics, suddenly looked rattled. Meanwhile, Carole Middleton said nothing. No interviews, no press, no leaked memo, but her silence spoke louder than any headline ever could. Insiders now say Prince William has begun quietly consulting with advisors once close to his mother, Princess Diana. A subtle shift, but in royal terms, a seismic one. And while Camilla has resumed her public duties, the air inside Buckingham Palace has changed. Behind the gold frames and red carpets, something deeper is brewing. A quiet storm, a reckoning, and at the eye of it all, Carole Middleton. So how did Kate's mother, a woman without a title, spark a royal storm without ever saying a word? That answer lies in what happened next. Because just when you thought this story had reached its peak, Catherine, the Princess of Wales, stepped forward. What Carole began with that quiet visit in February, Catherine continued. Since the day she married Prince William on April 29, 2011, Catherine had been watched, judged, admired and doubted. The public adored her, but within palace walls, whispers always lingered. She was elegant, educated, poised, but she came from common roots, a self-made family, a business, a different world. She wasn't born into royalty, but she became its future, and she did it without a fight. She observed, she listened, she studied the way Queen Elizabeth II wielded power. Not through speeches, but through silence, through presence, through restraint. By 2023, Catherine had already become one of the monarchy's most admired figures. But something shifted in Camilla's public schedule quietly thinned. Engagements were missed, presence diminished, and into that space stepped Kate. She didn't announce anything. She didn't need to. Her calendar filled. Engagements that once required a full court now revolved around her. Most notably, her office was moved from a tucked-away corner of the palace to a suite just steps from King Charles III. In royal architecture, location is everything. A working space near the sovereign means access, trust, power. This wasn't ceremonial, it was strategic. Even Prince William, always supportive, was now deferring to Kate more openly. In meetings, Her insights shaped decisions. She bridged the gap between tradition and the modern world. Even her wardrobe choices began to tell a new story. In a time of economic pressure, she repeated outfits, mixed high street fashion with designer touches. A message to the people: I see you, I understand. And her social media presence, softer, warmer, more human, behind-the-scenes photos, family moments, laughter. These weren't PR mistakes. They were deliberate choices. Kate was no longer the Duchess finding her place. She was stepping into power. And now in April 2025, a new question has surfaced. It's no longer will the palace accept the Middletons. It's how deeply have the Middletons reshaped the palace from within. Because in the monarchy, power doesn't vanish. It shifts, quietly, carefully, deliberately, and right now it's shifting toward Catherine and the woman who raised her. So what do you think? Is Kate Middleton now quietly calling the shots inside Buckingham Palace while staying perfectly out of the spotlight? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe. You won't want to miss what happens next.